I'll scroll down. Got the range in there. That's good. I'll keep scrolling down to the display settings. My x-axis is going to be month. My bar value is going to be total sales. And so notice these are yellow, red, and green, depending on where the sales fall. All right? That is to say, depending on where they fall within the range that I created. Okay, so if it's less than 600,000, it'll be dark red. If it's above 600,000 and less than 1 million, it'll be red, lighter red. Okay. I do want to scale the x and y axis. I also want to hide the reference lines. So I don't really want to see, I don't really care about the reference lines. And I want the y-axis format to be dollar and comma. And again, it does show up that way, but let's go ahead and make sure it is anyway. Actually, you know what? That did change something. If I set it to none, notice, no, it didn't change. I thought I had a decimal point there. But maybe I was just imagining things. All right, so let me set the y-axis to $123. And I think that's all I want to do there. So let's save this. I'll click on the floppy. And I'll click on save. I've already got one in there. That's the one we just created. I'll click on save again. Now I'll have one called sales by month. And I'm all set. All right, so what's left to do? I'm going to X out of here with that little X on the tab. So we did number 1. We created 2 data sources. We did number 2. We created a range. We did number 3. We created 2 indicators. The dashboard is pretty easy. I'm just going to select the 2 indicators to show up in that dashboard, and then I'm going to set some properties for that. All right? So I'll click on New Dashboard. And I'm going to call this Sales Dashboard. And that's on page 3-28. All right? Everybody good? Click on OK. And my sales dashboard, this is kind of the palette for it. I need to specify some indicators to put on that sales dashboard. So I need to enlarge, or I guess expand my my objects area. All right, so I had that thing collapsed. So let's expand the objects area, and I can make that a little bit narrower. But I do want to kind of have my palette be fairly large, as much as possible anyway. And so I'm going to double click on Chocolate Enterprises and expand it. I'm going to expand dashboards. And so I guess I was right. I knew there was a reason memorizing those extensions would come in handy. Because here it doesn't show me the types. Let's see, if I make this really big, will it show me the types? No, it does. Oh, no, it doesn't.
Just the icon on the left.
Yeah. So I get the icon and I get the extensions, but I don't get the, you remember before it actually had a column that said what the type was. All right. So that one's pretty obvious. It's a range because it looks like a little range. The IMXs are the indicator data. Now, if they have a little SQL next to them on the icon, they're indicator data. And then, what is that icon supposed to be?
The second
The IDX, that's the indicator.
no, instead of behind the dashboard, show it there.
What's there?
On the objects and library, then.
Oh, show the types?
Yeah, then you can select indicator.
Oh, hey, that's handy. I had never noticed that before. Okay, so I can only select indicators. So why not just select indicator here? Now I only see the indicators. That's pretty handy. Okay, so that's what I did, because I can. The only thing you can put in a dashboard is an indicator. So let's drag in there first the sales by year and category. So I'll drag that and drop it. And so that drops in there. And I want that to be, let's see, what do I want that to be? So let me go over here. So let me select it. All right, and if I select it, the width and height I'm not going to change, right? Let me scroll down. I do want to change the positions. So under Object, I scroll down over on the right, and under Object, I want the left position. Now, again, I could just move this. If I get that crossbar, I can move it. I can drag it and move it where I want it. All right? And it does change the positions over here. And I do want it in position 5 at the left, and on the top, I want it, and I'm just going to change this manually, I want it to be position 9. For whatever reason, that's where I want it.
What page are we on now?
This is page 3-29. So to get to this object area that I'm changing, you're going to scroll down in this right-hand panel. All right, so scroll down. I've already dropped this sales by year and category onto the palette. And now I selected it, and when I scroll down, it allows me to reposition it. I'm not going to change the height and width. I established that when I created the indicator itself. And it looks like I'm not going to make any other changes. So let's move the other indicator over there. So what I'm going to do is, because I have limited space here, I'm going to scroll. I'm going to use my horizontal scroll to scroll over so that I have some room over here to drop the other object. All right, and I'll grab that sales by month, drag it and drop it over here. All right. And for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to control click on that object. So now both objects are selected. All right, and with both objects selected, I can use some of the tools at the top to affect them both. So for example, I'm going to use this, it's like 2 bars with a line on top of them. And if you hover over it, it says Align Top. Question?
How do you get the objects?
Here?
I have dashboard.
Let me see what you got. So there, click on this, so it's selected. And then now this object here is good. Then scroll down, and you can change the position. Sure. All right, and we're going to, this session lasts until 12:30, so if I finish and you're still working, that's fine. You can hang out in here and complete the workshop. All right, so I'm going to line the tops of these. And what else am I going to do? Seems like I want this one to be a little bit closer, too. Did they tell us to move it closer, or did they tell us what position to make it? It's right now. Let me click off both of them and click on this one, sales by month. Did they give us a position for this one? The top is 9. That's good. What's the left? They didn't say. But in the book, if you'll notice, it's at 413. I'll make mine 410, just so it's an even number. All right? That moves it over. You could have just dragged it over somewhere near there, and I think that's fine. All right, the other thing I want to do with this second object selected, I want to change the zoom. And I want to make the zoom percentage 150 for height and for width. And I'll show you what that does in just a minute. All right, and that's shown on page 3-30. And then the other thing I want to do is I want to set up interactions. All right, so what I want to do is click on the first object, the bar chart, and I can actually collapse that panel over there now to give myself a little more room. But I'll select that first object, bar chart, stacked bar, and just the stacked bar. And I'm going to click on this little icon up here. It looks like two boxes tethered together up there. And that's the Set Up Interactions button. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and I want to set up an interaction with the selected object and sales by month. There's only one other object. I mean, I potentially could have 3 or 4 objects, 3 or 4 indicators in there. But since there's only one, I only get a choice of one. All right, and I want the interaction to be filter on local system. That's shown on page 3-31. I want the source data that is used to be the year, and I want the target data that is affected to be the year. So when I click on the year bar, actually let me put it a different way. When I click on a bar, it'll take the year for that bar, and it'll use it to filter the year for the other indicator. Does that make sense? All right, click on OK. And I'll scroll, and how do I get, did I miss something? I wanted to show the interactions. Where was that? Is that up top? There it is. Thank you. So on the right-hand panel, just scroll to the very top, and there's a Show Interactions checkbox. And so I'm in development mode, so I'll see that arrow in development mode. I will not see it when I view it. And users would not see that arrow either. All right, well, let's save this. So I'll click on the Save As floppy disk, and I'll put it in Chocolate Enterprises, and I'll put it under Dashboards, and I'll leave it the same name, Sales Dashboard. I'll click on Save. All right, so congratulations, you just created the dashboard. Now, the other thing I can do while I'm here is I can test it. So I can actually do number 5 while I'm in the Dashboard Manager, but we also want to test it the way the user's going to see it, and that would be an information delivery portal. So let's test it here first. So there's a little globe on the very far right of the toolbar. You can click on that globe, and that'll go to the Dashboard Viewer. And the Dashboard Viewer tells me to, this is what we saw a while back, and it's going to tell me to pick a dashboard. Actually, it just picked the one we're on. I take that back. And so now I'm viewing it. Looks pretty nice. Let's try it, see if the interactions work. I'll click on the bar that says 2012, and notice it affects my smaller indicator. Click on 2011, it changes it. Click on 2006, changes it. And notice I'm getting bars that have the way below color. The dark red that are way below, the red that are below. I don't think I have anything way above, do I? Let's just check 2012. Yeah, in 2012 I've got some dark green. So those are all showing up. All right, if I want to zoom this, I can click on the magnifying glass. Remember I set the zoom to 150? So that makes it bigger. And minus it to make it smaller. The user can also put in comments. So there's a little drop down here on this. And
Mark, how'd you get the Zoom button?
I did that when I was creating the dashboard. So let's go back to Manage Dashboard. And then under Manage Dashboards, actually it looks like it's going to show me that sales dashboard. That's the last thing I was looking at. And so if over here, what I want to do is select the smaller indicator, because that's the one we zoomed. And if you scroll down, there's a zoom percentage. And just change that to 150 for width and for height. And then I'm going to click on that globe again and go back to the viewer. Because the last thing I want to show you, one of the last things I want to show you,